Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Ben Lee, and today we're going to be doing a deep dive into the background and story of Chuck Lloyd and the Shadelight investigation. Hope you guys enjoy the video, like and subscribe, and let's get into it. Chuck is a normal person. Chuck goes to work every day. Chuck enjoys nice walks in the park. Chuck feeds birds when they are hungry. Chuck watches the telly when bored. Chuck is a normal person. Chuck Lloyd. Chuck Lloyd is an intelligent myth known by almost the entire myth community. He has the main role in the Shadelight investigation. His basement was the key to everything surrounding the wands of Shadelight. Unfortunately, Chuck Lloyd hasn't been seen after the KAZDAM situation, as Chuck Lloyd was confirmed to be owned by KAZDAM. KAZDAM is the owner of Chuck Lloyd, who is actually accused of doing some unspeakable things, which we'll get into later. Biography. Chuck Lloyd was reportedly a war veteran who fought in World War II, according to several accounts. He had a wife named Sandra Lloyd and a daughter named Lloyd, who is rumored of being abused by Chuck. She stated that she was stabbed, kicked downstairs, and locked in a basement by who she assumes to be her father. After Chuck came back from the war, Sandra had mysteriously died due to causes not currently known. It's implied that she was trying to protect her daughter, Lloyd, from someone, and this person attacked her with a hatchet. Some have theorized that it was actually Chuck who murdered Sandra, and that he hid her body. Despite his age, Chuck manages to maintain a family-owned household and attempts to live a normal life. But what prevents him from doing so is the fact he lives in a loop of death and paranoia of his own scarecrow, and the mysterious entity that watches over him, as well as the influence of Shadelight. There are also shadow ghost-like entities that stalk him, particularly at night. He also has nightmares consisting of some sort of darkness, and mentioned the term darkness incarnate, which later revealed to be his key to the temple. The Roblox's Myths Shadelight investigation was an extremely popular private RM Foundation investigation about a unique myth known as Shadelight, and was one of, if not the most popular myth investigation in the history of the myth community. Shadelight is a place that resides in Chuck Lloyd's basement, and can only be accessed if all 5 keys, code phrases, are found. Exploiting will lead you to the fake Shadelight, an empty base plate. This investigation went on for almost 3 years. Unfortunately, the myth was never completed, as the owner of it, KAZDAM, left Roblox after some drama. Not a lot of information about Shadelight was ever found out about, but a decent amount still was. The myth ended as players were still trying to find out Yulifa's key. Not many people are still investigating and trying to carry on Shadelight, due to the fact that it was found out that KAZDAM was the person running Shadelight. The keys to Shadelight: Chuck Lloyd, Father Grimm, Yulifa, Masquerades, Taroa, and Subject Pyro, which was theorized / presumed. The members of Shadelight: Goldity, Chuck Lloyd, Yulifa, Father Grimm, Masquerades, Taroa, him, and Subject Pyro. Shadelight was discovered in mid-December of 2017. Before the Shadelight investigation was official, there was another investigation going on for the nursery myths. The nursery myths were converted children that were reborn in order to become myths. The hunters were yet to find a reason why they converted into myths. Father Grimm was revealed to be working under a man with no name, but was labeled as him. They were yet to discover what that man was and who he was, but all of the nursery children feared him. Another day during a normal hunt at Roblox Myths, the hunters were investigating Chuck Lloyd's place. There was a teleporter called Shadelight that was yet to be discovered, and the hunters were determined to find it. Shadelight was confirmed to be a teleporter by Chuck Lloyd himself, but he was afraid of it and had no knowledge of it. Chuck Lloyd described Shadelight to be a dark place, alike his key. The Shadelight investigation soon became an official investigation after that, and was found to be connected to another myth, Father Grimm. There was a connection between the man that Grimm was working with and Shadelight. The Nursery Myths investigation closed as soon as the Shadelight investigation became a thing. The man was found out to be part of Shadelight, as Shadelight was his birthplace and where he came from. The hunters began to hunt at the Nursery Myths more, though the hunting came with a burden. One hunt, each of the Nursery Myths were taken one by one to Shadelight by the him, though 2 were kidnapped or taken by the other keys. Ulifer took Solomon Grundy and Torora took Old King Cole. That was the first appearance of Torora. The basement and the first keys. A month after, Chuck Lloyd's basement extension was discovered, and the key to open it was Darkness Incarnate, which is not cap sensitive. At the end of the small maze lied 5 doors in order from Father Grimm, Chuck Lloyd, Ulifer, Torora, and Masquerades. Shortly after the investigators found out that Torora, Masquerades, and Ulifer were part of Shadelight, Father Grimm was taken to the door by 9 investigators, since only 10 was the server player capacity, and said that the man he worked with took him to Shadelight with the 3 blind mice by another route. He didn't know his own key, though he might have been unconscious when he said the phrase to the door. When 3 blind mice was discovered to have escaped Shadelight, he helped the hunters attempt to find the key to the first door, as Father Grimm and Stefano stayed behind at his door. 3 blind mice led the investigators to each of the Nursery Myths places and said the key separated into each word, a darkness in light. The hunters heard the key multiple times but had no clue of it until Tafes recommended for Stefano to say the phrase at the door. The door opened and was discovered to be the first key. Stefano discovered the second key to be Darkness Incarnate. 3 blind mice died at the end of the key, as he perished back into Shadelight where he was taken once again. Chuck Lloyd claims to have had Shadelight in his basement since he moved in. He experiences a daily reset when he sleeps, and Shadelight is what keeps him alive. Shadows watch him, and when scared, he whispers to hunters about them. There's a teleporter in the tree leaves by his house that leads to a dream world, characterized by a white neon box and a distorted crow figure playing a creepy nursery song. He converses with this figure and complies with its requests. Chuck describes his life as being on a plane where he isn't the pilot. That concludes part 1 of the Chuck Lloyd and Shadelight investigation explained. Hope you enjoyed the video, and part 2 should be out tomorrow. Don't forget to subscribe and comment if you'd like me to go over anything else. That's about it. See ya.